My husband and I have been married for a long time and have a 10-year-old son together. Whenever we did something right, it was for him. 4 months ago, I came clean to my husband about having an affair with a coworker. The story is as old as the world. I miss the feeling of being desirable, feminine, acknowledged, and that coworker gave me what I needed. It was exciting and felt really good, especially since my coworker is 29. Igniting desire in a man that young and good-looking made me feel a lot more confident. But whenever I looked at my husband, a lot of ugly feelings came up. Guilt and remorse for hurting him, the thought of how heartbroken he would be if he ever found out. Not just the physical act, but the feeling a younger woman could give him that I couldn't. I was at a loss for words. It took a while to realize how extremely disrespectful my actions were to him, our marriage, and our family as a whole. I ended the relationship with my coworker and waited for a weekend when our son was at his grandparents' home. Restrictions here already allowed that. I sat my husband down and told him that I cheated on him. At first he thought I was joking, but then he got angry, called me names, and asked questions. Some I answered, some were just inappropriate. He asked me if I expected him to forgive me, and I basically told him that he must decide that. I told him I would happily work on this marriage and absolutely try everything to gain his trust back, but I would also be supportive as possible if he wants to divorce. He asked me again if that's what I want, and I told him I definitely don't want to lose him. He said he had to think about it. That night I slept on the couch. I felt very vulnerable. The next day he said he would give me another chance, and I was very happy about that, but that faded really quickly. For a month or over since then, he basically ignores everything. His only demand was that I quit my part-time job because of my coworker and that I get a new Phone Plus number so my coworker can't contact me anymore. Since then, we only talk about the most necessary stuff. He hardly looks at me or shows affection. Whenever I only touch his arm, he brushes me off. I brought the topic up a few times. He absolutely refused to talk about it. I mentioned therapy. He refused again. I even suggested that he can have a revenge affair because I became already very devastated, but that was a big mistake. He looked at me even more disgusted and said, "I am not like you." That hurt me, but he is not wrong. When I asked him when we will begin to work on our marriage or when he will be ready to talk about the affair, he said he doesn't know and maybe never. I can't blame him for his feelings, but I also think he maybe just wants to stay married because of his work and, of course, our son. I love him and I never wanted to hurt him. As weird as it may sound, the affair was something I needed. It was not meant against him, but I begin to resent him again, and I don't want to cheat again or live in a loveless marriage. Even when taking our son into account until he moves out, there will still be 8 minutes, 10 years left. I told him that already, but he always just says, "You really expect me to forgive you after this short amount of time?" I try to tell him this isn't about forgiveness. It's about the first steps of moving forward, but he doesn't understand it. I know 4 months doesn't sound like much, but it's already really tiring. I can only imagine his feelings are much worse. After all, I betrayed him deeply. But it can't go on like this forever. I thought about giving him an ultimatum of 2 more months for a decision, or I would file for divorce. He would have some free time over Christmas and New Year's Eve, and then January to think about everything. Would that be a mistake? But I clearly don't know what else to do. I don't want to live like strangers until our son moves out, but I also don't want to lose him. I cheated on my husband, and it was awful, he knows, and I think I'm going to lose him. I don't know how to start, so I just will, I guess. I messed up bad. I was an idiot. I wrote a post yesterday on another sub about wanting an open relationship, and my husband found out. That led to a massive fight, and he said some things I didn't like, so I left the house and went for a walk. A coworker of mine gave me a call and invited me to his house. I decided, since the conversation had gotten me nowhere, I'd just go ahead with it. So I asked him to pick me up, and we went back to his house. We had a few drinks and went to the bedroom. He put the TV on, and we watched some stupid film for a few minutes. I was feeling frisky, so I made a move and went down on him. The result was disappointing, to say the least. He came in about 20 seconds, and without warning, he then basically ignored me and went back to the TV. This went on for about an hour, and just as I was starting to think about leaving, he began to start to straddle me. I basically just said screw it and went with it. The sex was terrible, like full-on mortifying. He refused to go down on me because his tongue was sore from eating Pringles, so we went straight to sex. and it was just 10 minutes of awkward thrusting. He forgot to pull out too. Afterwards, he rolled back over and went back to watching TV. I just got dressed and went straight home. On the way back, I did some thinking and realized all I wanted was some excitement to escape the routine, and it's not all it's lived up to be when it comes to actual sex. My husband is far better than anyone else I've been with due to sheer experience, and I wish I'd seen that before. I was also very harsh to him. I put down his size in my last post, but after thinking about it, he's around 7 inches, so he's not that small. I was just letting a fantasy of being with someone else take over. When I got home, my husband was still in the kitchen. I tried to talk to him, but he just put headphones in and started to cook pasta. Eventually, he took them off and put the pasta in a bowl. I asked if I could have some, and he said he doesn't share and just ate it all. I was exhausted and emotional, so I just went to sleep. He woke me up about an hour later, and I thought he was trying to have sex or something. But instead, he just took my duvet and threw me a towel before going into the living room and setting up to sleep. I got back to sleep after finding a rug. I tried to talk to him while he was on the couch, but he ignored me. I woke up early because it was cold and the heater was off in my room. That gave me some more time to think, and I realized how badly I messed up and I need to work on being a better wife. I tried to talk to my husband all day. He's just unresponsive. I tried to make a move on him and he rejected me and left the room. He's never once done that before. He'd at least go down on me if he was too tired for sex, but today he was just completely disinterested in anything at all. I've noticed he hasn't eaten or drunk anything today either. He just looked tired. I tried to sit him down and talk to him, but he just got up and left the house. I tried to call him, but it went to voicemail, so I texted him saying I loved him and for the sake of our marriage we need to talk soon. He texted me back saying this: I do not want a conversation or a marriage with you any longer. I'm going to be staying elsewhere until the new year. When I return, I expect you to be gone. This was my house before, and I don't want you here anymore. I've contacted a lawyer, and from now on, we will communicate via her. I'm no longer using this number. I've made some calls, and apparently my husband is staying at my sister's house. I'm concerned because she's attractive and single, and I know she's had a little crush on him for a while now. I have a feeling she's going to use this to try to make a move. I texted her and asked her what's going on, and she said she loves me, but she's not going to support me after what I did and that we shouldn't talk for a little while. I understand I messed up, but she's my sister and she's supposed to be there for me right now, not playing housewife to my husband. I have a friend who lives near my sister, and she told me that apparently my husband and sister were shopping together earlier and that she was acting like his girlfriend. I really don't know what to do about that, but I feel betrayed. I love my sister, but I hate her right now for what she's doing. I just hope my husband doesn't let her have her way with him. This has been a really long day and so much has happened. I really don't know what to feel or do right now. I just want things to be normal again. Sorry for the essay, but I just wanted to vent a bit. I know I messed up, but I never thought it would get this bad.